Alrighty, how are we doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're going to be discussing las vocales, the vowels in Spanish. You can notice already, vocales. Well, I guess it kind of sounds like how you pronounce it in English, vocales. But it's different. There's a different pronunciation with Spanish vowels, and we're going to realize that really quick. And this is really going to help us out with pronunciation of Spanish words because it sounds a lot different than it does in English. And that all stems from this difference in the vowel sounds. So we have A, E, I, O, U. In Spanish, it sounds like A, E, I, O, U. So I'm going to explain that to you in just a sec. The A is like the English sound A, right? Like the A in father. E, like the E in elephant, or the EI in 8, right? Like E. E, the I, the E here, it's like the two E's in feet, or we. The E in we, I should say. O is generally always going to have that O sound, like in no, or go, or rope. U is like our double O sound in English. So it's oo, right? Like the OO in pool, or cool. And so those are always going to be consistently pronounced like that. If we go to our A's here, we have some examples of A words. So we have absoluto, absolutamente, absorber. You can hear how these E's and A's and O's are all sounding different than they would in English. Ausente. So this is ausente. Abdomen. Abdominal. And we got two A's in that word. So we have abdominal. Whereas in English we'd say abdominal. It's a cognate. It's the same word, but in Spanish it's abdominal. Here I have a book. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Marquez. So you can really see how the pronunciation of the A is a little bit different. E, as I said, is like that EI in 8. So we have elefante, which means elephant. Elefante. Efectivo. Educador. Efecto. Eco. Economía. So you can hear that it's always that E like in elephant. Our I, which in Spanish we actually pronounce E, because it makes that double E sound in feet, or we. So it's our E. We have identificar, identidad, imagen, iluminar. So you can see there's two I's in this one. That I-L-U-M-I-N-A-R, iluminar, ignorar. So it's always going to be like that double E in feet. That's our E. So we have A, E, E. O is the easy one. All right, O is basically going to stay the same. The only difference is that O never makes the A sound. It's always O. So it's even easier. So we have observar, ocupar, objeto, which means object, objeto, obscuro, obscure, right? Obtener, to obtain. And then obvious, obvio. It's got our two O's here, obvio. And last but not least, we have la U. The U in Spanish is always going to have that double O sound like pool or cool. So we have urgente, urbano, urgencia, unidad. So U, right? Unir and uso. The U is generally always going to sound like this, especially if it's a word starting with a U. Unir or utilizar. There will be times where the U will be following a Q, which we'll talk about a little bit later this week, that it's going to make a special sound or it's actually just not going to make a sound. So be on the lookout for that. But generally, when you see a U, it's just U, like the double O in pool. So keep that in mind. So that's just basically a little rundown of our vowels. We'll have more activities practicing stuff like this. I urge you guys to come to tutorial time. Just so we can talk about it. I can have some practice words and we can really work out why it is that they sound like this. But the good thing is in Spanish, it's pretty consistent. So you can always count on the vowels sounding A, E, I, O, U. I thank you guys for sitting in for these 5 minutes and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and you're all safe and healthy.